41 workers, one collapsed tunnel, and after 17 days, each one of them brought out safe and alive. What a visual as India erupted in joy. But it was also a mission that was being watched across the world. And now the question is being echoed. How did India pull this off? Remember, for the starters, 652 government employees at least from Uttarakhand state government to the NDRF, Border Roads Organization, many more from the private sector. Indian Armed Forces were fully involved also as always on the ground to assist. So all resources came together for this Uttarkashi rescue mission. But importantly, there were made in America advanced machines that were brought in, international experts, the best and finest from within India too. But this mission's success truly showed what Indian jugaad can successfully do. How, when nothing was working, challenges piled up, Indians switched on their creative light to innovate and invent throughout this process. And I say this with some responsibility. Yes, the best machines digging through the concrete. Australian tunnel expert based out of Geneva, Arnold Dix, led a brilliant operation. So did the micro-tunneling expert Chris Cooper. But when they could not go further, when the best machines were not able to clear the debris anymore, and when time was running out, when hope was turning into despair, it was our Indian men with basic training, basic equipment with them, charged on for 26 hours and cleared that last obstacle. They were sitting in waiting for the orders. But finally, in batches of 5 to 6, these workers who were assigned one job, and that to clear the last challenge that nobody else is able to do. They are called the rat hole miners because they have to dig through the narrow passages like a burrow to clear the rocks, to clear the debris that machines were failing to do. Remember that time was running out. These workers may be skilled, but they had basic tools with them like a shovel, pickaxe and bags to keep the debris in.
12 लड़कों की टीम थी और हमें पहली बार ऐसा लगा जो हमारी लाइफ में कोई मकसद आया था जिसे हमने पूरा करा।
With this mission in mind, they went into the tunnel at 3 p.m. An 800mm wide pipe was established for them, bigger than what they usually would work in. But by next day, within 24 hours, by 7:30 p.m., the confirmation had come that the final rock has been officially cleared because of these men. And they were the ones to see the trapped workers' face for the first time in 17 days. Emotions were all over. There were hugs and happiness. Imagine that visual for a second. Not big machines, but a fellow worker kept digging through with a billion prayers behind him. And finally, they yielded that result and got the workers out. And then the NDRF personnel one by one evacuated each of them through that narrow passage. Today, therefore, you must know their name and remember their face.
ये नसीम है, जतिन, ये जतिन है, बुलंदशहर से है, ये फिरोज अहमद है, ये अंकुर है, ये सौरभ सौरभ है, ये हमारे राशिद भाई हैं दिल्ली खजूरी से, ये हमारे इरशाद भाई हैं सेलिब्रिटी, और ये हमारे मोनू भाई हैं, और ये नासिर भाई है और देवेंद्र भी है।
This final rescue was clearly visible, but Indians through these 17 days reminded to the world of why they are popular and known for their creative mind and for their jugaad. Food and water had to be supplied within the first few days, but there was no passage. So again, Indians put a creative maneuver here this time too. See this. A temporary pipe was established and a mug was used to pour water through this pipe to them to at least help them survive with water. Then through another small passage that was created, dry fruits and chanas were being sent for the first few days. But all of this was possible only because of these innovative ideas arranged on the spot. Then more indigenous ideas were invented to share bananas, apples and other fruits. So while machines were digging through the mountain to create escape path, a route was simultaneously being twisted and turned to at least keep the workers alive with food, and all of this needed a lot of immediate on-the-spot ideas. Then remember, 24 plastic bottles were arranged in which hot khichdi was poured. Khichdi is a quintessential Indian dish which is rice and lentils in a semi-liquid form, and sent through this pipeline. This helped them really survive and get their first hot meal in 10 days. Only possible because of the Jugaad ideas. Once bigger pipeline were established, then proper packets of meals were sent and ensuring that their stomach were full while they were trapped.
जो पाइप था हम लोग का पानी का पाइप, उससे हमारा खाना की व्यवस्था की गई, उसी से हम लोग को खाना मिलता था। काजू किशमिश बादाम रोटी चावल दाल जो भी मिला सही सलामत सब।
There is one Indian practice that came in handy to these workers too while they were trapped in that constrained space. That Indian practice that keeps us physically fit and ensures our psychological well-being, and that is yoga. Speaking to Prime Minister Modi, one of these workers added how they would do these light yoga daily exercises to ensure that their well-being is taken care of.
मैंने सुना कि आप में से कोई योगा भी जानता था, तो योगा वगैरह भी करते थे।
जी सर, वही मॉर्निंग में सर योगा वगैरह सिखाता था सर। हम लोग का करना, अंदर में तो कुछ खाने पीने के अलावा और तो कुछ काम है नहीं सर जी। तो मॉर्निंग में हम लोग मॉर्निंग वॉक करते थे और योगा कुछ करते थे कि आदमी का सेहत बना रहे।
While the workers were trying to find out way to survive in that trapped space, outside the rescue workers thought of another brilliant idea. They came up with an endoscopy-like camera. Such cameras are usually inserted in a human body, for example, for medical checkup. That meant, with the limited diameter of the pipe available at the Uttarkashi Tunnel site, this camera can be used. And that is how we got the first visual 10 days later on 21st of November of who these trapped workers are, what their faces are like, what they look like. NDRF and SDRF, which is our National and State Rescue Force, are expert at disaster operations. So when communication had to be established, the team set up a modified communication system with wire connectivity through which communication got established with them. The workers were also provided a walkie-talkie through that 6-inch pipeline to ensure that they remain healthy and there is a communication even with some of the family members. I could not help but smile when we were informed that mobile phones have been provided to these workers, of course for limited communication with the officials and the family members. But that smile that I had was not as much for the mobile phones. It was for the games that were installed in these phones, like Ludo and Snake and Ladder. These are popular phone games across India from children to adults. It's a favorite time pass for many. So clearly someone in the rescue team had this brilliant idea to keep these trapped workers occupied and in a stable psychological state where they can spend time playing these games. So these 17 days was a constant emergence of ideas on how to ensure safety of these workers. That big steps are being planned at a higher level, but how small steps daily at every juncture in fact kept these 41 human beings afloat. And each step of that Indian Jugaad did contribute to a successful mission. As I conclude, many questions remain of what went wrong. What was the cause of the section of the under construction tunnel to collapse? Were norms flouted? And I hope inquiry is done in this too. But remember, there are 3 lessons to take from these past 17 days and a successful mission. 1. Once India decides to get together, pull in all resources, we can declare any impossible mission possible. India showed that we value our ground level workers, our people, and we will do whatever it takes to save them. And finally, 3rd, we may be a developing nation to rest of the world, but we have some of the brightest creative minds. Because advanced machines on one side and India ki himmat on another. Thank you for watching.